Welcome to Jesus Christ Prison Ministry and another video Bible study. Our topic, Deuteronomy chapter 26. When you have entered the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance and have taken possession of it and settled in it, take some of the first fruits of all that you produce from the soil of the land the Lord your God is giving you and put them in a basket. Then go to the place the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling for his name, and say to the priest in office at the time, I declare today to the Lord your God that I have come to the land the Lord swore to our forefathers to give us. The priest shall take the basket from your hand and set it down in front of the altar of the Lord your God. Then you shall declare before the Lord your God, my father was a wandering Aramean, and he went down into Egypt with a few people and lived there and became a great nation, powerful and numerous. But the Egyptians mistreated us and made us suffer, putting us to hard labor. Then we cried out to the Lord, the God of our fathers, and the Lord heard our voice and saw our misery, toil, and oppression. So the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, with great terror and with miraculous signs and wonders. He brought us to this place and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now I bring the first fruits of the soil that you, O Lord, have given me. Place the basket before the Lord your God and bow down before him. And you and the Levites and the aliens among you shall rejoice in all the good things the Lord your God has given to you and your household. The principle here is thankfulness, sacrifice, recognizing that it is God who gives us whatever we have. If we do not show thankfulness, he can take it all away. So let us humble ourselves, sacrifice. When you have finished setting aside 1/10 of all your produce in the 3rd year, the year of the tithe, you shall give it to the Levite, the alien, the fatherless, and the widow, so that they may eat in your towns and be satisfied. Then say to the Lord your God, I have removed from my house the sacred portion and have given it to the Levite, the alien, the fatherless, and the widow, according to all you commanded. There are requirements to being a Christian. If you claim to be a Christian, the tithe is holy. There are offerings that are holy. There are things that we need to give the Lord besides just ourselves. Everything we have belongs to him, but there are specific things. And if you rob God, if you keep the tithes and offerings, or if you misuse them and give them as bribes to earn friendship with others, okay, that's not giving to the Lord. Giving to the Lord is a very specific requirement and is to be given to the Lord. Those who teach the commandments of God to stop sinning, be perfect, and to keep the 10 commandments to get our eternal life. Those that do not teach that, you cannot give them tithe. Offerings can also go to those who teach the gospel. However, and of course remember the gospel is to be perfect, stop sinning, and to keep the 10 commandments to get our eternal life. However, we can also give sacrifice extra for the homeless who are worthy, to the hungry who are worthy, to the alien who is worthy. Keep in mind that worthy part, says the Bible. It is not to those who would misuse it, who use it for selfishness. It is those who are in need, absolute need of it, because of a misfortune, something that was not their fault. It wasn't because they're on drugs and can't work, so they're on the street. You can't give to them. They have decided purposefully not to work. Okay? They've decided to take a course that you cannot support. Same with alcoholics. And there are those that are overweight because they choose to eat and eat and eat and not work out and do what has to be done in order to keep themselves healthy. We have an obligation to understand who we are to give to not by our emotions and feelings, but by the requirements of God. I have not turned aside from your commands, nor have I forgotten any of them. I have not eaten any of the sacred portion while I was in mourning, nor have I removed any of it while I was unclean, nor have I offered any of it to the dead. We are not to be wasting God's money, tithes, offerings, our energy to the devil, to those that are not worthy. There are some churches that pray to the dead, to saints that are dead. They're not in heaven, they're dead. We are not to have anything to do with them. I have obeyed the Lord my God. I have done everything you commanded me. Look down from heaven, your holy dwelling place, and bless your people Israel, and the land you have given us as you promised on oath to our forefathers, a land flowing with milk and honey. The Lord your God commands you this day to follow these decrees and laws. Carefully observe them with all your heart and with all your soul. You have declared this day that the Lord is your God, and that you will walk in his ways, and that you will keep his decrees, commands, and laws, and that you will obey him. Old and New Testament is the same thing. If you claim to be God's child or a Christian, then you must be obedient to his 10 commandments. You must walk in his ways. You must follow the example of Jesus, who set the example for us, who said that he was living in obedience to his Father, and we must do the same. And the Lord has decreed this day that you are his people, his treasured possession as he promised, and that you are to keep all his commands. If you want to be God's treasured possession, you have to be obedient to him. Claiming that you are and going to church while you're breaking his 10 commandments, that's not being his treasured possession. We must live as Jesus lived, perfect, sinless, commandment-keeping lives. He has declared that he will set you in praise, fame, and honor high above all the nations he has made, and that you will be a people holy to the Lord your God, as he promised. We are not to be people of a church. We are not to be people of a denomination. We are not to be people of a pastor. We are to be holy, totally, to God. And we are to be obedient to him, even if it goes against our church. We must remove ourselves from any church that does not teach the teachings of Jesus to be perfect, to stop sinning, and to keep the 10 commandments for our eternal life. Thank you for joining me and Jesus Christ for another video Bible study.